All right, so let's say you've got like 72 hours in London, but you don't want to deal with all the crazy crowds and tourist traps, you know? You want something more authentic, a real London experience. Where would you even start to find those hidden gems? I mean, without spending like a week doing research.
Well, that's kind of what we're here for. We've been digging through tons of travel guides, articles, even those like offbeat blogs to bring you the best of London, but like on a budget, the hidden value, you know?
Okay, I'm listening. So where do we start on this treasure map?
Well, our first stop takes us beyond the beaten path, right? Like right to the heart of the city to a place called St. Dunstan in the East Church Garden.
See, Dunstan's. I think I've seen pictures of it before. Something about a church and a garden.
Yeah, exactly. It's this medieval church that was bombed during World War II, but instead of just rebuilding, they were like, hey, let's turn this into a garden. So now it's this peaceful little oasis, vines on the walls, flowers where the pianos used to be. Is wild.
Okay, that's definitely more interesting than another old church. But is it really worth squeezing into a 72-hour trip?
Oh, totally. For starters, it's free. Plus, it's like right between Tower Bridge and the Tower of London, so super easy to get to. But honestly, it's more than that. It's like this perfect example of London's spirit, resilience. You know, they took something broken and made it beautiful. That's what we're talking about, hidden value. It's not just about saving money, it's about getting under the skin of the city, feeling its soul.
Ooh, I like that, the city's soul. So we've got peace, resilience. Where to next on this treasure map?
Well, speaking of peaceful escapes, how about a taste of Italy, but like in London?
Wait, Italy in London? I'm already picturing like some cheesy tourist trap with checkered tablecloths.
No, not at all. We're talking about Little Venice, a canal district, super charming, colorful houseboats, those cute little waterfront cafes, and even swans. Imagine just strolling along the canals, getting a coffee with a view, maybe even trying paddle boarding.
Okay, now that's something I haven't heard of. But wait, wouldn't a canal boat ride cost a fortune?
Not really. I mean, you can walk along the canals for free and just enjoy the atmosphere. But if you really want to do the boat thing, there are some pretty affordable options, especially if you book online. You can even find combo tickets for the canal and the Regent's Park Zoo. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Okay, that's like a pro travel tip right there. I'm really starting to see how this deep dive is more than just a list of places. So we've got a historic garden, a little slice of Italy. What other surprises does London have hidden up its sleeve?
Well, since we're talking about water, how about walking under the Thames?
Under the Thames. Is that even possible? I thought the tube was the only way to go under the river.
Nah, the tube is great and all, but this is something totally different. I'm talking about the Greenwich Foot Tunnel. It's the only pedestrian tunnel that goes under the Thames.
Whoa, a tunnel just for walking? I bet it's packed with tourists, though.
Actually, it's usually pretty empty. It's open 24/7, totally free. Just imagine you're walking beneath the river, seeing London from a totally different perspective. Most tourists just stick to the ferries or the tube.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got serenity, resilience, unexpected adventures. What's next on our hidden London tour?
Let's change it up a bit. From tranquil walks to the London pub theater scene, what do you think?
Pub theater. I thought London theater was all about the West End, those big productions with the crazy expensive tickets.
Well, yeah, the West End is awesome, but it can be a bit pricey and, touristy. Pub theaters are these intimate venues tucked away above pubs, often in historic buildings. The performances are amazing, often up-and-coming actors, and the atmosphere is super cozy, and the tickets way cheaper than West End.
Hey, that sounds more my style. But how do you find these pub theaters? Are they like a secret society or something?
Not quite a secret society. You can find them online. Time Out London is a good resource, or just wander around some of those older neighborhoods, look for pubs with theater signs, see what you discover.
Okay, challenge accepted. So we got history, serenity, a bit of performance art. What's the final stop on this leg of our London adventure?
Let's end with a little reflection. A place that kind of sums up the heart of London, that unsung heroism of everyday people. Ever heard of Postman's Park?
Postman's Park. I feel like I've heard of it, but I can't quite place it.
It's this small park tucked away near St. Paul's Cathedral. What makes it special is the memorial to heroic self-sacrifice. Basically, a wall with these ceramic plaques, and each one tells the story of an ordinary person who died saving someone else's life.
Wow, That's pretty incredible. Everyday heroes hidden in plain sight.
Exactly. You could walk right past it and not even realize the stories it holds. Stories like Alice Ayres, she was a housemaid, died rescuing her employer's kids from a fire. Or Frederick Fleet, the lookout on the Titanic. He spotted the iceberg, but, well, these stories remind us that heroism can be anywhere.
Okay. Postman's Park is officially on my list.
Yeah.
That's the kind of hidden gem I'm talking about. But what about those iconic London landmarks? If I do want to see them, is there a way to do it without the crowds and the costs?
Absolutely. That's what we'll be looking at next. Think of it as smart travel alternatives, getting that same vibe but with way better value.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's hear it. All right, so we found some pretty amazing hidden gems in London, places that really capture the spirit of the city. But let's be real, some of those classic landmarks, they're iconic for a reason, right? Is there a way to experience those without the crazy crowds and spending a fortune?
That's where being a savvy traveler comes in. It's not about skipping the classics. It's about experiencing them, smarter. Like, everyone wants that panoramic view of London, but does it have to be from the London Eye?
You're telling me there's an alternative to that massive Ferris wheel? I always thought it was the only way to get that view.
Think outside the capsule. Instead of shelling out like 30 quid for the London Eye, how about stunning views for free from the Sky Garden?
Wait, the Sky Garden, isn't that place like super trendy? Always packed with people taking Instagram selfies.
Yeah, it's popular, but for good reason. It's more than just a viewpoint. You've got these lush gardens, swanky bars, and then the terrace, open air, with 360-degree views of London. You can soak it all in, maybe have a fancy cocktail, feel like a high roller without spending a fortune.
Okay, I'm sold, especially if I can get a good sunset photo. But is there anywhere else, for those of us who aren't into the whole see it all over Instagram vibe?
For sure. For something a bit more under the radar, try Horizon 22. It's actually the highest free viewing platform in London. It's on the 22nd floor of a skyscraper in Canary Wharf.
Canary Wharf. That's a little outside the usual tourist zone, isn't it?
Exactly. That's what makes it a hidden gem. Easy to get to by tube or the DLR, and you get these amazing views, especially of the financial district. Plus, no need to book in advance for Horizon 22. Just show up and enjoy.
Okay, mental note, check out Horizon 22, especially if the Sky Garden is booked up. Speaking of booking in advance, one thing that always seems impossible to get tickets for is the Tower of London. Any smart alternatives for those of us who love a bit of royal history?
Oh, the tower is definitely steeped in history. But it can get so crowded and a bit, grim with all the tales of imprisonment and executions. If you want a deeper dive into Tudor history with a bit more romance, try Hampton Court Palace.
Hampton Court, that's the one with Henry VIII and all his wives, right? Less beheading, more palace intrigue.
Exactly. It was Henry VIII's favorite palace, and it's got all those stories, about his 6 wives, the lavish parties, the drama. Plus, the gardens are amazing, including the famous Hampton Court maze.
Okay, a maze and royal drama, count me in. But isn't Hampton Court way out in the suburbs? Is it worth the trip if you only have 72 hours in London?
Well, it depends what you're looking for. If you're a serious Tudor history buff, it's totally worth it. It's about an hour from central London by train. You can make a day trip out of it. Plus, tickets to Hampton Court are much cheaper than the Tower of London, so you're saving money and getting a richer historical experience.
All right, you've convinced me. Hampton Court it is. Now, another classic London thing is the changing of the guard. But the crowds at Buckingham Palace are insane. Is there a way to see it without feeling like you're in a mosh pit?
Oh yeah, for sure. Instead of Buckingham Palace, head to the Horse Guards Parade at Whitehall.
Horse Guards Parade, what's that all about?
It's basically the same ceremony as Buckingham Palace, but way fewer people. You'll see the mounted cavalry, the guards all dressed up, all that pomp and circumstance, but with a much better view.
Okay, fewer crowds, better view, I'm sold. Any tips for making the most of it?
Get there early, at least 30 minutes before it starts to snag a good spot. And check the schedule online, because the timings can change depending on the day.
Fantastic. Okay, last swap. Craving some art, but want to skip the lines and the selfie sticks. What's a good alternative to Madame Tussauds?
Madame Tussauds is fun, but it's more about celebrity than art, right?
Yay.
If you want to really dive into British history and culture, the National Portrait Gallery is where it's at.
The National Portrait Gallery? I thought that was closed for renovations.
Yeah, it was closed for a big makeover, but it just reopened this year. Brand new galleries, even a fancy new cafe. Definitely worth checking out.
Okay, so what makes it so special?
It's like you're walking through British history face to face with all these important people, from Shakespeare to Queen Victoria, David Bowie to Malala.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Will I need to fight through crowds to see these portraits, though?
Not really. It's a big gallery, well laid out, rarely feels super crowded. Plus, it's free. You can pop in for an hour, spend the whole afternoon, no pressure.
Free, uncrowded, and full of history.
Uh,
You're making me rethink my whole London trip. So we found smart alternatives to the tourist traps. What else does London have to offer in terms of hidden value?
well, London is a city that just embraces culture, and a lot of it is free. Get ready to be amazed by all the amazing things you can experience without spending a dime.
Free. In London. Okay, you've got my attention. Tell me more. All right, you've definitely sold me on London being a cultural hub, but I'm still a bit skeptical about all these free experiences. Like, where do we even start to unlock this hidden world of culture without spending a penny?
Well, everyone loves a good view, right? Forget those expensive observation decks. London has some seriously stunning vistas that won't cost you a thing.
Okay, I'm all ears. We've talked about Sky Garden and Horizon 22, but are those the only free viewpoints in London?
Not even close. I mean, think about it. London's built on all these hills, so there are incredible views everywhere if you know where to look. Like Primrose Hill, it's just a short walk from Camden Market. And on a clear day, you can see all the way to the Shard. Especially magical at sunset, that golden light over the city.
Okay, Primrose Hill at sunset. That's going straight to my Instagram. What about something a bit more, I don't know, panoramic?
For a proper panorama, head to Parliament Hill in Hampstead Heath. You get this sweeping view of the entire skyline, all the landmarks like St. Paul's, the London Eye. Plus, Parliament Hill is great for picnics, people watching, even free summer concerts.
Wait, free concerts? That sounds like a perfect summer evening.
Right. And speaking of cultural experiences, let's not forget Trafalgar Square. I know it's a bit of a tourist hotspot, but it's also a hub for free public events all year round.
Trafalgar Square. Yeah, all those pigeons and street performers. Not exactly peaceful and quiet.
Well, yeah, it can be busy, but that's part of the charm. It's like the energy of London, all crammed into one square. And amidst all that hustle and bustle, you'll find these amazing free events like the St. Patrick's Day Festival, huge celebration of Irish culture with music and dancing and all that.
St. Patrick's Day in London, that's got to be a unique experience.
It really is. And that's just one example. There's Vaisakhi on the square for Sikh culture, Black on the square celebrating Black creativity, and West End Live, where you can see performances from all the top musicals for free.
Free musicals. Now that I wouldn't want to miss.
The best thing to do is check the schedule online, see what's happening when you're in town. You'd be surprised at what you can find.
Okay, you've completely blown my mind with these free events. What about something a bit more, low-key, where I can escape the crowds and just soak in some art and history?
Then let's talk about London's crown jewels. The museums. British Museum, National Gallery, Tate, Modern, Natural History Museum, Science Museum, they're world class.
I've always wanted to visit those museums, but assumed they'd be expensive, especially with such famous collections.
And here's the best part. Most of them are free. General admission, totally free. You can walk through ancient Egyptian tombs in the British Museum, stand in front of Van Gogh's sunflowers at the National Gallery, or check out a T-Rex skeleton at the Natural History Museum. All for nothing.
Free museums in London. You're kidding, right? But seriously, the idea of exploring those iconic museums without paying a fortune, that's pretty incredible.
It really is. London is all about making culture accessible to everyone. And sure, they can get busy, especially during peak season, but there are ways to avoid the worst of it.
All right, spill the beans. What are your pro tips for navigating those museums without feeling overwhelmed?
Weekdays are your best bet, especially early morning or late afternoon. You'll usually find it's a lot quieter then.
Makes sense. Avoid those weekend crowds and school groups. Any other insider tips?
Oh yeah, a lot of the museums have late night openings on certain days. It's a cool way to see the exhibits in a different light, often with special events and talks going on.
Late night museum adventures. I like it. Anything else I should know?
Definitely check the websites beforehand. Many of them require you to book a timed entry ticket online, even if it's free, especially for the popular exhibitions. Helps manage the crowds so you can actually enjoy your visit.
Okay, so plan ahead, book those tickets, and embrace those off-peak hours. Got it. But there are so many amazing museums. Where do I even start? Any favorites?
It's hard to pick just one. But if you like art, the Tate Modern is a must-see. It's in a converted power station, this huge industrial space with incredible modern and contemporary art.
The Tate Modern. Yeah, I've heard great things. Any other hidden gems?
For something more intimate, I love the Wallace collection. It's tucked away in this beautiful townhouse, like you're stepping back in time. Amazing collection of 18th century French paintings, furniture, porcelain. really special.
The Walls collection. That sounds right up my alley. So we've explored hidden gems, we found smart alternatives, free culture. Are there any London experiences that are actually worth splurging on?
Oh, for sure. There are some things that are just, worth that extra bit of cash. Something special, an experience you'll remember.
Okay, I'm ready to loosen the purse strings a bit. What should we be splurging on?
Well, if you're into theater, a West End show is a must. London's theater scene is legendary. The talent, the sets, the energy, it's just an incredible experience.
A West End show is definitely on my bucket list, but I know those tickets can be expensive. Any tips for finding good deals?
Oh yeah, definitely. Matinee or weekday shows are usually cheaper than Friday and Saturday nights. Check out those discount ticket websites like Today Tix or sign up for the theater's EMA's newsletters. They often have special offers. And don't rule out those smaller theaters. Off West End, you can find some great productions for a fraction of the price.
Awesome, thanks for the tips. Besides theater, what else is worth splashing out on?
For a really British experience, you can't go wrong with afternoon tea.
Afternoon tea. I always pictured it as a bit stuffy, cucumber sandwiches and all that in a fancy hotel.
It can be fancy, but it doesn't have to be stuffy. There are so many different types of afternoon tea in London now. Classic, quirky, traditional, modern. Imagine you're in this beautiful setting, sipping fine teas, delicate sandwiches, scones with clotted cream, and all these delicious pastries.
Okay, you're making me hungry. But those fancy afternoon teas can cost a fortune. Any advice on how to get the best value?
Do your research. Look for special offers, themed afternoon teas. Maybe they include a glass of champagne or something. Consider booking an earlier or later slot, less crowded and often cheaper. And if you're really on a budget, lots of cafes and tea rooms offer a more affordable version of afternoon tea. You can still get the experience without breaking the bank.
That's great advice. What about something a bit more active, a splurge that gets us out exploring the city?
If you really want to deep dive into something specific, whether it's art, history, or one of those themed tours like Harry Potter or Jack the Ripper, a private guided tour could be worth it.
Private tours sound amazing, but also super expensive.
They can be pricey, yeah, but you're paying for that personalized experience. You have an expert all to yourself. They can tailor the tour to your interests.
Okay, I can see the appeal. But how do you find a good tour company, one that's not just a tourist trap?
Word of mouth is always good. Ask friends for recommendations. Read online reviews and look for companies that specialize in what you're interested in. And don't be afraid to ask questions up front. Tell them your budget and what you're looking for.
So personalize it, get recommendations, and don't be afraid to haggle a little. Got it. We've covered a lot of ground here, from hidden gems to smart swaps, free culture, even a few splurges. But we can't talk about London without mentioning the food, right?
Absolutely. London is this amazing melting pot of cultures, and that's reflected in the food scene. So diverse, so vibrant, and the best part is you don't need to spend a lot to experience the best of it.
Okay, you've officially got my attention. Tell me more. Where should we start our food adventure?
First rule, ditch the tourist traps and explore those neighborhoods outside the center. That's where you'll find the real heart of London's food scene. Authentic, delicious, and budget-friendly.
All right, let's get off the beaten path. Where do we go first?
If you love curry, Brick Lane in the East End is a must. It's famous for its Bangladeshi restaurants. It's got this great atmosphere, street art, vintage shops.
Brick Lane for curry, got it. But with so many curry houses, how do you choose?
Aha, that's the best part. Don't choose just one. Do a curry crawl. Sample a few different places. Try a small plate or two at each. Find your favorite.
Curry crawl, love it. What other food hotspots should we check out?
Chinatown is a classic, always buzzing. You'll find authentic Chinese food, dim sum, Peking duck, often for really good prices.
Dim sum in Chinatown, that's on the list. Any hidden gems you'd recommend?
Peckham has really come up in the last few years. It's got this great mix of cuisines, Asian takeaways, North African wraps, and for Caribbean food, Brixton is the place to be.
So many options. London really is a foodie's dream, but it can be overwhelming. Any tips on how to navigate it all?
Don't be afraid to ask locals for recommendations. They know those hidden gems that aren't on the tourist radar. And use those online resources. Time Out, Eater London, those sorts of things.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Well, what about if you're on a budget? Any strategies for eating well without spending a fortune?
A lot of restaurants offer set lunch menus, much cheaper than dinner. It's a great way to experience top-notch food without the high price tag.
Set lunch menus, great tip. Any other money-saving hacks?
Look out for those pre-theater menus, great value if you're going to a show. And check out apps like First Table. They offer discounts for early bookings.
Love those early bird deals. Now, I've heard a lot about London's food markets. What's so special about them?
Ah, the food markets are amazing. It's an experience, Fresh produce, artisan cheese, street food from all over the world. You can sample loads of different things, find new favorites. It's a real taste of London.
All right, give me the lowdown on the best food markets.
Borough Market is a classic, great quality food, but it can get quite crowded. For something a bit more off the beaten track, try Maltby Street Market. It's a hidden gem with a real focus on gourmet food.
Borough Market and Maltby Street, got it. Any others?
If you're in North London, Broadway Market is great. Lots of local produce, unique treats, street food. And you can't go wrong with Camden Market. A street food lover's paradise, global flavors, great atmosphere.
Wow. So many delicious options. So as we wrap up our deep dive into London, what's the key takeaway for our listeners planning their trip?
It's all about going beyond the surface. Embrace the local scene, seek out those hidden gems, be smart about your choices. You can have an incredible London experience without spending a fortune.
Totally agree. It's about finding that hidden value, those experiences that make your trip memorable. Any final words of wisdom?
What hidden value will you discover on your London adventure? Get out there and explore.
And don't forget to share your discoveries with us. We love hearing about your travel adventures. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into London.